Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning to these videos. In this video, I want to start off by reading this in 2 Timothy 2 and 3. It says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushai Hamashiach." And that is what is expected of us in this ministry. We're supposed to study to show ourselves approved and be diligently and make our calling and election sure. That's why we're constantly in this ministry how we are. Putting out these epistles, these videos, fellowshipping with the Akim, and then also doing camp on the weekends. And now, of course, I'm going to read other precepts going into the love of this world and how we are not part of this world. But ultimately, part of this challenge as a good soldier is that you have to balance through the world. So you basically have to continue to work so that you can feed yourself and pay the tithes and do all those things, and also have that opportunity to be charitable to brothers. And that's just the situation that we find ourselves in. We are yet in this day in our captivity, just as it says in Baruch. And in the land of our captivity is we are remembering ourselves, and we're calling to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. And we're pretty much like spies behind enemy lines, as the elder brother from Dallas quotes it. And you have to basically put that mindset that we're basically incognito, or like the sense of Superman when he puts on his glasses, he's Clark Kent. And we basically have to do a balancing act here. But first and foremost, when you're in this ministry, this comes first. Being not entangled in the world and the cares and the affairs, as I'm going to continue reading on to this in this verse, is that we basically have to put Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai first and foremost in this ministry. So I'm going to read in verse 3, also like in verse 4, it says, "No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier." And of course, we are, whatever job you have, whatever situation you are in, we have to go through those things, but we are not planting there. We are not entangling ourselves to the point where Yahweh Shai comes second. And so you have to basically understand that this is like a balancing thing that we have to do as soldiers for Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai in this last captivity of Babylon. And I'm going to read verse 5. It says, "And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully." As ultimately, what you put in this ministry, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai will take care of you and make sure that you're in a good spot. But we can't really do masteries where like we can become musicians, artists, or things like that. Because brothers are talented. They have that knack and ability, but it doesn't really bring food on the table. Can't really pay bills with that sort of thing, because first and foremost, we adhere to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai's ministry. Pushing this word is the main thing, the main mastery that we're working on. Artworks, musics, and stuff like that, that comes secondary. But the first thing that we work on is the mastery of being a part of this ministry. Verse 6 says, "The husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits." And so that's why when brothers come into this ministry, they basically have to get on a level on studying and taking notes and reading the Paleo Hebrew. These are the basics, but ultimately, as the scriptures say, we are rehearsing the righteous acts. These are things that are expected of us, and they're really the elementary stuff that we have to go through. But that is basically being a soldier of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, not entangling ourselves in this world to be made as if we're a celebrity in this society, because what people that are in the society are walking that broad gate. That's why we're not entangled whatever this society has to offer. Yeah, of course, we do the balancing act by brothers can watch sports and stuff like that, but we don't let sports engulf our attention away from Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. So this precept right here is in 1 John 2 and 15. It says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And this is pretty plain and straightforward. But again, with the balance is like if you do watch sports or you're a fan of something of that nature, doesn't mean to just do away with it ultimately. Just put it on the side. First and foremost, study to show yourself approved. Be diligent to make your calling and election sure. I'm going to read this again. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. In verse 16 it says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. As ultimately, it's because this society is corrupt and polluted. So I'm going to get those other precepts going into that, because like even though you can enjoy your time off of work and you can sit down and watch sports or the latest Marvel comic book movie that came out, but ultimately, there's a lot of bones in those things. Like if you're eating your meal, you can get choked up on certain things because at the end of the day, this society is corrupt and polluted. You just wait for the commercials to pop off and you're going to see a whole bunch of wickedness. So like having that discernment and balance when you're maneuvering through this society allows us to basically be a part of this world, but not being of this world. Using this world, but not abusing it. See, that's where the balance comes. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, none of the brothers in this ministry really enjoy the things that we do on the side. Like that example I keep saying, like sports. Because we know that it could be better if we had the Edomites in captivity. This world is the Edomites' world. And we, first and foremost, are practicing our masteries to sing this very lovely song. Being the heralds of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, so that the world where righteousness dwells can be established. So then we could love the things that are down here. Because everything down here, when it comes to even the food, the women, the music, all of it is corrupt and vanity. And if you are putting too much energy into that, it'll distract you from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. I'm going to continue on. This is in verse 17. It says, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. And that's what we want, access to eternity, immortality, by doing this work. And so like having that in your mindset about like, you know, we're seeing what is happening on the news, and we could still have fun and enjoy these things, but if anything, like the things that are happening in the news is making us more happy and glad, because it lets us know that our salvation is nearer than we believe. But ultimately, we're not going to invest too much in stocks or gold, silver, or whatever, because ultimately, we have the vision of what's going to take place. Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. Pretty soon, there's not going to be a time where you're going to be able to sit down and watch the sports and keep up with all of the statistics of it all. We know and understand that all of this that we are dealing with, yet in this day in our captivity, is going to be burnt to a crisp. This is 2 Peter 3:11. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? In verse 12 it says, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So we have this vision, seeing then that all these things that are like we're going to work, we're on the freeway waiting in traffic and waiting for our breaks, whatever, so we can see whatever folly that we keep up with. Ultimately, all of that is going to be done away with. You're not going to get a good thing if you're investing time into this world. So we have this vision of all these things being dissolved, and we're looking for and hastening the return of Yahushai, so that when this place is burnt, continuing on verse 13, it says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's the ultimate thing that we want. We're going to be able to party in the kingdom, but now we understand that this ain't it. This is our captivity, where we are to serve our punishment. I'm going to continue on, verse 14. It says, "Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless." And that's basically the edicts that we carry. You can read other precepts, like in right here, it talks about characteristics that the elect are going to have, and we're not going to be involved in this world too much. The straight and narrow, and which what we're walking is the straight and narrow that's going to lead to life and salvation, immortality, while the rest of these people who do put 100% of their free time into investing in sports, media, music, news, or whatever it is that they like doing, it's not going to come to naught. Okay, so I'm going to read this other precept. This is in Romans 13 and 11. It says, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believed." And that's why us in this ministry, we've awoken from this nightmare, this hell, and understanding of our predicament. And we're calling and making our election sure so that righteousness can be established down here. I'm going to continue on. Verse 12, it says, "The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying, but put ye on the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and make not provisions for the flesh to fulfill the lusts thereof." And so that's basically like the main thing that we do. As soon as we get off of work, we get things done. We make sure to read our scriptures and watch these videos. So like we're basically 100% in the spirit. I'm going to read this other precept. This is in James 4 and 4. It says, "Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High." And like thinking just people in this world, they can't quote a precept or have any of these characteristics or edicts that the scriptures speak about the men of the Lord should have. So it's ultimately they're fit for the slaughter. They're going to be burnt to a crisp because they're attached to the society, while we are separating from this place spiritually and pretty soon physically. I'm going to continue on. Verse 5, it says, "Do ye think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, the Most High resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Submit yourselves, therefore, to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." And when I'm reading these precepts, I'm also thinking about in Matthew 4, where Yahushua was on the hill and he was fasting, and then Satan went to him and started trying to trip him up with the scriptures. Yahushua ultimately resisted the devil by denying the carnal desires that the devil was offering onto him, telling him to make bread out of stones and to jump off the cliff, lest his feet dash against the stones. And he was also saying if you were to bow down to him, Satan, that he would give Yahushua all of these carnal kingdoms. But luckily, Yahushua did not take those offers, and he stuck with the scriptures. He fulfilled the scriptures, I should say, because in that chapter, Satan was actually bringing up scriptures to see if he was well learned. And those are the same things that we have to go through. The servant is not greater than his master. That's why we're submitting ourselves right now, so that when we resist the devil in whatever folly that he has to offer to us, all we have to do is resist him, and he will flee from us. And the last precept I want to read is in Micah 2 and 10. It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction." And that goes into these people who are just fully invested in whatever folly that they're partaking in. And knowing full well that none of this is going to end well. Like we have the vision of this place going down. Let me get one more precept. But these people got a rude awakening coming, because all of this stuff isn't going to last. Like, you can see the state the economy is like, that all this folly is going to come to an end pretty soon. The society can't how I should say, it's not profiting for this society to continue on just distracting these people. But I'm going to read this in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and I'm going to start at 1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened." And this is speaking about, like, right before Yahushua returns, it's going to be Jacob's trouble down here. And it ain't going to be traffic or going to work or things like that. You're barely going to have time to watch your sports or whatever folly you're watching to in these last days, because it's just going to be no work, no money. It's just going to be all survival of the fittest out there. I'm going to continue on. Verse 4, it says, "And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sounds of the grinding is low. He shall rise up in the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low." And this specifically is going into the music, but it's also into all entertainment. It's all coming to naught, pretty much. It's not hitting like it used to, and it's definitely not going to hit when there's going to be a whole bunch of sorrow carcasses in the time of Jacob's trouble. Ain't no one going to want to be able to sit down and, like, wind down, or so to speak. It's going to be like I just quoted, or like I just stated, it's going to be survival of the fittest out there. You can even continue on, because, like, it gives you a picture of how it's going to play out, where it's just going to be bleak and terrible, that there's going to be few men left out there, and they're going to be invading one another for the lack of bread. But this is the conclusion, what's going to preserve us from those times. Jumping down all the way to verse 13, it says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Hawashai, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." And so this is something for you to think about. Are you putting too much time into the folly that you're invested in? Or are you putting more time into Yahweh Ba'ashem Hawashai in his ministry, so that when he returns, he finds you doing the duty that he commanded you to do? But with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Hawashai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Shalom Akim.